First book I read was Before You Quit Your Job. It just explains a lot of things about business, things like the advices you learn, like before you quit your job, so you be like prepared before you go into the business world and all. Second one is The Secret. You've probably heard of this one a lot. It's law of attraction, manifestation, and all that. The third one is Make Time. This one just basically teaches you how to like strategies you can use to make time for things you actually want to do, because almost every single day we always feel like we never have time to do things we genuinely want to do. So this is just a book that gives you some tips and strategies and all that to make time for what you need to do. The fourth one is 10x rule. This was the book that made me 10x almost all my goals for the year, and I still ended up hitting none of them. The concept of the book basically is just putting in 10x effort, because that's actually the only way you can actually win. Many of us, when we want to set goals, we usually set goals too low. They usually say if you set it too low, you end up hitting them. So when you set like 10x giant massive goals, like that's something like is actually worth waking up to work on. For example, I set the intention of reading 12 books this year, but immediately I changed the book to 120. I actually read 13 and a half. But I'm very sure if I just left it at 12, I probably wouldn't have hit it at 12. The 10% of the giant one is like the 100% of the tiny one I said before, and that's really cool. So it means like the bigger the goals you set, even if you are very lazy and you barely try at all, you're still going to surpass every little tiny goal you set. The next one is you can draw in 30 days. This one just basically gives you like a step-by-step guide on drawing. It just teaches you how to draw and all that, and I really enjoyed the book. At the time I was doing like a drawing challenge. I think I made a video about it on this channel, because the guy really breaks it down and explains it and makes it simple and not complicated on how to draw this stuff. And this is one of my favorite books of this year, One Thing. And this book, the concept of this book is just to focus on just one thing. When we always want to achieve something, we're always trying to focus on as many things as possible, because that's our mindset, is that, you know, the more I can focus on, the more I can like achieve. And you might just be wondering that didn't I just talk about 10x rule that I'm supposed to 10x everything? And the concept is yes, but no. Like yes in the sense that you choose one thing, then you 10x that thing, but no, not that you choose 10 different things. So the question the guy that they always ask in the book is, what is the one thing, the most important thing that I can do that makes every other thing easier or insignificant? Say there are basically two things that exist. Your one thing, whatever that is for you, maybe that's your work, your business, your career, your skills and all that, and everything else. So what the book advises you do is you wake up in the morning, or whatever your schedule is, or like, then you set 4 hours. After you're done with those 4 hours of working, then you cannot go back and do whatever else you want to do with your day. And the seventh one on the list is deep work, and this deep work is just similar to the one thing as well. Like the concept is almost the same. One thing is to just pick one thing and lock in on it. What deep work is to like do like deep undistracted work, not like you're walking there and your phone rings and you check it, then this person calls you and you pick it and you stand up and do, like you just lock yourself and focus in on the task at hand. Number 8 is make your bed. The concept of this one is that big things usually start with small things. Making your bed is like sounds like the most insignificant thing, like how is making my bed going to help me succeed or improve my life or anything. But once you can nail it down to all those basic fundamental foundational disciplines, like almost every other thing becomes easier. If you wake up every single morning, challenge yourself to always make your bed. When you make your bed, that gives you like a small win to aim for in the morning, and also it builds your discipline level. So when you can force yourself every single day, whether you feel like doing it or not, to make your bed, like your discipline and everything starts to change. So if you want to change the world, start by making your bed. Number 9 is the power of positive thinking. It just basically teaches you how to think positively. This one is more of like a Christian book. Concept is that, you know, we usually have a lot of negative thoughts. Like the more positive you can think, the higher quality and better your life will be. And the next one is Millionaire Fast Lane. Side workers, slow lane, and the fast lane. Side workers are people that are, according to Hamza Jeffries, they don't really do anything special with themselves. You know, those are people that you always find like looking for lottery tickets, bets Nigeria. Always like they don't want to just settle down and do something. They always think life is short or whatever. But the slow lane is everybody, pretty much 90% of people, like all of us, are indoctrinated in the matrix, according to Andrew Tate. You know, people that are always working 9 to 5 jobs. You know, they save like wait for 10% on their raise or whatever, and they never actually like amount to much. Not that they can't get rich, but according to MJ DeMarco, the time they will eventually get rich, they probably will be like 60 years old and all. Compared to when you're young, you can't really enjoy the money like when you're old. So the fast lane, on the other hand, is, you know, the fast track to being a millionaire. He describes it that there's a difference between get rich easy and get rich quick. Get rich easy is all the ones usually all these get rich quick schemes, all these ones that they just say become a millionaire in 2 weeks. Like all those is crap. But get rich quick is actually, you can be like a millionaire in 3 years, in 5 years, you know, in 7 years. So it doesn't matter how young you are. Maybe what makes the great great. And this one just basically breaks down the principles of what great people do to achieve their goals. Ego is the enemy. The book just basically goes and explains, you know, great people in history that because of their ego they did stupid things and they fell down, and also people that because of their ego, because they ignored their ego, they were able to live well and rose to the top. Last one on the list is going to be Lone Wolf. And this one is a novel, it's not like a self-help book. But this is the first book that I read, and you know, after I like stopped reading it, I put it down. I couldn't just stop thinking about it. I just wanted to know what happened next. Like what happened next, what happened next, what happened next. The book is basically a story. I'm not going to spoil it too much. A broken family. You know, the father was like a animal care guy, so he really loved wolves a lot. The elder son or the elder brother, like he ran away from home. The mother ended up marrying another person, so the daughter was just like alone. Like it's a really interesting book, bro. Like extremely interesting. One I'm currently reading, which I'm still not done with yet, is The Power of Now. I think this one too just also ties in with the ego is the enemy. This one just teaches how to be focused, how to be present and all that, and how the ego, how the mind is always wandering, always trying to prevent you from being present. My 2 favorite books out of all the list is going to be Millionaire Fast Lane. To me, that book was just like bangers, bro. That book was the best in my opinion. And then this Lone Wolf, as like that I just mentioned too. Like the storyline of that book is just perfect. Like I read the 13 and a half. It's not like I read every single one of them like each month at a time. I read maybe the first month I read like 1, and the next month I'll read like 3, the next month again I'll read 0, the next month again I'll read 0, the next month again I'll read like half, the next month again I'll read like 2, the next month I'll read like another 3. So like it was just random. My plan now is to still read a lot, maybe 120 or less or whatever. But since I was just reading random books, is to read books that's like related to the situation I'm currently in my life. So just like I said in my previous video, I want to focus in on my mental health, my belief systems and all those type of stuff. So the thing is to find those type of books relating to that, books that will actually teach me how to like elevate my mental health, how to, you know, get rid of limiting beliefs, all those type of stuff. And as usual, the most important thing is to always practice what you read. Even though I read all these 13 books, how many did I practice? Like very slim. Something like The Secret, for example, if you read it and you're not practicing how to manifest, like then what's not the point of reading it? Like I read it at the beginning of this year, and I won't lie, many of the things I read I almost cannot remember them. I cannot remember 90% of everything I read. So it's almost like it's a waste of time. I even prefer to read one book and practice every single thing inside that book A to Z than to read 120 and practice none of them.